Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi guys, my name is Milda Marata Putri. I'm from PBIB. Okay, today I will reading the text about everyday life in the Soviet Union, the shopping runaround. The author Hedrick Smith has head of the New York Times office in Moscow from 1971 to 1975. The following passage is adapted from Mr. Smith's book, The Russians, which was published in 1976 by Quadrangle or the New York Times Books Company. 1. I had heard about consumer shortages before going to Moscow, but only when we began to shop there did the Russian consumers' problems really have meaning for me. Customers were overweight in the lines, but Soviet lines have a special quality all their own. Typically, the Soviet woman spends 2 hours a day in line, 7 days a week. Personally, I have known of people who stood in line 90 minutes to buy 4 pineapples and 3.5 hours to buy 3 large heads of cabbage, only to find the cabbage were gone as they approached the front of the line. Line can run from a few yards to nearly a mile. Some friends of ours watched a line of people in Moscow signing up to buy rugs. The line lasted 2 days and nights and ran for across all through an apartment development. So, in spite of all of this, the natural reaction of a Russian woman when she sees a line forming is to get in it immediately, even before she knows what is being sold. However, Soviet lines are more fluid and they appear in most stores. For example, shoppers must stand in not 1 but 3 lines for any purchase. The first to select a purchase and find out is price. The second, to pay a cashier somewhere else in the store and get a receipt. And the third, to go pick up the purchase and turn in the receipt. 3. But in a dairy store one morning, I found out the game is both simpler and more complex than then. I went in to buy some cheese, butter, and bologna sauce, which were in their separate departments, each with its own 9 lines. 4. Rather quickly, so I noticed that experienced shoppers were skipping the first step. They knew what most items cost, so they went directly to the cashier from their receipts. After studying price, I did that too. Then I went to the cheese line, the longest, probably 20 people, to get the words over with first. I was in line less than a minute when the woman in front of me asked me to help her please. She darted off to the butter and milk line. The cheese line was moving so slowly that she got her butter and milk and returned before we had advanced through field. I decided to take the risk too, and I got back with my butter with the cheese line was still inching along. 5. Then it suddenly occurred to me that all over the store, people were getting into line, holding place, lying, returning. Everyone was using the cheese line as home-based. That was why it was barely moving. It kept expanding in the middle. So I got the man behind me to hold my place, and I went off to buy my bologna. Once again, it worked. It took me 22 minutes to buy butter, sauce, and cheese, but instead of being furious, I felt as if I had beaten the system. 6. This competitive shopping gives an atmosphere of elation to Russian life. People barge into store and bump into each other with face-setting combative expressions. You have to understand, said a kind, gray-haired person, that for as long as we can remember, shopping has been a struggle. Life is a struggle. 7. There is hardly any effective advertising to help shoppers. Americans complain about the constant commercials in the United States, but they might reconsider if the way were exposed to consumer blackout in Russia. A typical Soviet might be, if you want to live to a ripe old age and be beautiful, modest, shrewd and truthful, drink tea. Most newspapers publish without ads. The shopper has no handy yellow page or daily newspaper, supermarket, or department stores ads to help her decide where to shop. 8. Bribery is widespread. Low paid $80 to $20 monthly. Sales clerks take a portion of attractive items and sell them secretly to regular customers who have either left a bribe in advance or can be counted on to pay a high price on delivery. 10 to 15 rubles on a 60 ruble raincoat is standard. In 1976, the ruble was equivalent to $132. 9. So common is this practice that the Soviet press is always complaining about it, but it doesn't do any good. Crocodile, the Soviet humor magazine, once showed a department store employee promoting some newly arrived items. Dear customers, in the leather goods departments, 500 imported women's purses have been received. 450 of them have been bought by store employees. 49 are under the counter and have been ordered in advance for brands. One purse is in the display window. We invite you to visit the leather department to buy this purse. Okay, I think that's all. Thanks for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.